The cosmos is all that is, or ever was, or ever will be.
So when people ask me if a God created the universe, I tell them that the question itself makes no sense. Time didn't exist before the Big Bang, so there is no time for God to make the universe in. It's like asking for directions to the edge of the Earth. The Earth is a sphere, it doesn't have an edge, so looking for it is a futile exercise. We are each free to believe
what we want. And it's my view that the simplest explanation is, there is no God. No one created the universe, and no one directs our fate. This leads me to a profound realization. There is probably no heaven, and no afterlife either.
We have no positive evidence for any kind of intelligent or divine design, neither in human consciousness, which is a mysterious phenomenon, and we need an explanation for it. Maybe one day we'll get it, but it's not going to be helped by postulating anything supernatural. Similarly, you might think that the origin of the whole universe requires some sort of intelligence. Once again, it's a deeply mysterious problem, the origin of the universe. Physicists are working on it, but certainly that won't be helped by postulating a supernatural intelligence, because to postulate that merely raises bigger questions than it answers. There is no positive reason to think that God does exist, and therefore, although God might exist, he is no more likely to exist than the tooth fairy or pink unicorns. And so why bother to believe in something for which there's not a shred of evidence, when there's so much for which there is a great deal of evidence, and you could spend a lifetime finding out about it?
In my opinion now, the accounts of the Gospels cannot be reliable because they differ in hundreds of ways, both big and small, and they contain numerous historical errors.
In crucifixion, the purpose of crucifixion was state terrorism, and the function was to leave the body on the cross for the carrion crows and the prowling dogs. It was not simply that made you suffer a lot, it meant that you didn't get buried. That's what made it one of the supreme Roman penalties, lack of burial.
Furthermore, the character of Jesus being a literary and astrological hybrid is most explicitly a plagiarization of the Egyptian sun god Horus. For example, inscribed about 3,500 years ago on the walls at the Temple of Luxor in Egypt are images of the Annunciation, the Immaculate Conception, the birth, and the adoration of Horus. The images begin with Thoth announcing to the Virgin Isis that she will conceive Horus, then Neph, the Holy Ghost, impregnating the Virgin, and then the virgin birth and the adoration. This is exactly the story of Jesus' miracle conception. In fact, the literary similarities between the Egyptian religion and the Christian religion are staggering. The Egyptian religion is likely the primary foundational basis for the Judeo-Christian theology. Baptism, afterlife, final judgment, virgin birth, death and resurrection, crucifixion, the Ark of the Covenant, circumcision, saviors, Holy Communion, Great Flood, Easter, Christmas, Passover, and many, many more are all attributes of Egyptian ideas long predating Christianity and Judaism. Is there any non-biblical historical evidence of any person living with the name Jesus, the son of Mary, who traveled about with 12 followers, healing people and the like? There are numerous historians who lived in and around the Mediterranean, either during or soon after the assumed life of Jesus. How many of these historians document this figure? Not one. You would think that a guy who rose from the dead and ascended into heaven for all eyes to see and performed the wealth of miracles acclaimed to him would have made it into the historical record. It didn't, because once the evidence is weighed, there are very high odds that the figure known as Jesus did not even exist.